last time, we need to talk. So we're setting off the car alarm, and she's just kind of freaking out.
Maybe that was just a freak incident. Like, I gotta go again. Like, maybe I made them act that crazy.
To his house. And it was at night. And I pull into the driveway, and it's just a house. It's a nice looking house.
But they were a couple of years younger than me. And I asked them, one of them had cat makeup on.
Was using this dating site called OkCupid, and I wasn't having very much luck. So I was chatting with all these cute girls and stuff, and they seemed pretty interesting. And the problem I kept on having was you start a conversation with them and be going pretty good, and then after like 2-3 months, you try to like, hey, you want to meet up sometime, maybe for some coffee or maybe for something else, and they would just stop messaging. And it was getting really frustrating because it's like 2 to 3 months of messaging and being pretty diligent and, actually taking the time to write these thoughtful responses and just getting dropped like that because you're trying to actually do something with it is kind of annoying. It's like, are you here for dating or what?
So 2 to 3 months, that's a really long time. I feel like if I was hitting it off with somebody on it, I've never used online dating, but if I was, I wouldn't wait 2 to 3 months to ask them to hang out. I'd talk to them like 2 or 3 times and then be like, hey, you want to hang out?
So that's the method I tried taking a few times. Didn't work. And, I tried
ignoring them because you might have more luck.
Maybe.
Have you tried pumpkin festivals?
No, but I've heard they're pretty terrible.
Yeah, they are.
It depends on where you go, really.
But, yeah, you try to, like, hint that you want to do something with them, but you don't quite, like, make it obvious. So it's like you say, oh, yeah, I heard about this place in Dover, and they have a great coffee shop. Have you ever been there? And you're trying to get her to say, oh yeah, I haven't heard of it, or I have heard of it. Maybe we should go there. And that's what you're trying to get them to say, but they don't take the bait. So it's pretty frustrating.
Oh, so you wanted them to kind of be like, oh hey, we should go there.
Not necessarily, but I wanted to see if they were interested in maybe going there, or maybe showing interest. Like. Because just asking, hey, you want to go do this is a little intimidating, So I was just trying to see if they were interested and trying to get their idea. Like, oh yeah, I'd love to go there, or that might be a good place.
Did you ever try just being intimidating?
Yeah, and that didn't work either.
Sending them pictures of bears late at night, asking them if they like roller coasters.
You should definitely try smearing toothpaste all over your body and just taking pictures.
I've heard that...
but don't send them.
But don't send them.
I've heard that dick pics work pretty well, but I don't know.
No.
No?
I don't. You need my permission to send pictures of me.
Oh.
Do not ever send dick pics. This is the worst thing you can do. When a girl gets a dick pic, what we do is we look at that and go, why the fuck did he send this to us? This is the fucking stupidest thing. Like, it doesn't even look that big.
See, I don't know, because my ex, she said my dick looked pretty nice. So maybe they'd look at it and say, hey, this is like a work of art.
Was it while you were in a relationship, or was it while you were courting her?
It's while I was in a relationship.
Okay, then. That's different.
Was it wearing a nice Santa hat?
Okay, I didn't send a dick pic. She looked at my dick and said, yeah, it's pretty nice.
Okay, that's a completely different story.
Yeah. Okay. I've yet to send a dick pic, so...
You could send a dick pic of somebody else's dick.
Wait, Steve, was it pretty nice?
I mean, we might find out at the end of this date.
I was trying to allude to the fact that you were the girlfriend.
I know, and I was trying to allude the fact that we're on a date.
Oh, yeah. Fuck yourself.
Don't have to.
No.
Well, the date was kind of going a bit sour when you started requesting other dates during the date. So a little douchey.
I mean, I just like to know, when you're doing certain things. Just because I pull out a calendar doesn't mean... So...
I need you to map out when I can see you.
So you whip out a calendar. Oh, wait, that's my story. So you're having a lot of struggles finding a date. People don't want to meet up. I assume this is getting towards somebody finally does.
Yeah, so I find this girl, and I don't even really look at the picture at this point. I'm just kind of trying to find someone. I read the profile, and they're like Back to the Future, and that seems...
So she was 62.
So
looking for love.
So the longer you go striking out, the more you delve into, okay, my standards don't exist anymore. As long as they're alive, let's do this.
But
you
pretty
got a
much.
heartbeat? That heart is mine. That's why they call it OK Cupid, not fucking Fantastic Cupid.
You're like, Cupid.
That's my dating site. They're like, meh.
Okay, so your standards are on the ground.
Yeah, and to give some context, she was maybe 28, and I was 23 at the time.
What the fuck is wrong with 28, Nate?
Well, it's just a big age difference between a guy and a girl. Usually guys date girls who are younger than them. But
What's wrong with that?
I'm not saying anything's wrong. I'm just saying it was a little different.
Just stating facts.
Just stating the facts, Nate.
So you're out with this older girl.
Yeah, and I knew...
woman.
Yep, she was a woman. And so we decided to actually go bowling. And
oh, God.
This is probably a bad decision because girls don't like bowling.
I love bowling. What the fuck are you talking
Girls
about?
hate bowling.
I love bowling.
Every once in a while, there's a girl that likes bowling, and they usually are very competitive with bowling. So it's you gotta really like it too, if you're a girl.
I mean, are you like competitively bowling these women? Because that's really annoying. If a boy's gonna like compete with me on a date, I don't want.
Are you competitively bowling her, like throwing her at the pins?
That would be fantastic.
I might be, but that's another date.
Oh, okay.
And
Continue.
this particular date, you guys went out bowling, and she was not into bowling?
So I pull into the parking lot, and I'm there early, of course, because that's just how I do it usually. And I'm trying to figure out if she's there yet, and she's not. And so I wait for her car to pull up, and I say, "Oh, is that your car over there?" And she's like, I don't know. And so I was expecting her to get out. She didn't. So I have to like kind of walk up to her car and kind of like, I'm right here. And she's like, "Oh, okay." So she gets out and...
Is that your car over there? I don't know.
She was clearly terrified.
I don't know. Where is my car?
It's because she was really 8 years old and she could not remember where she had parked.
She really didn't know if she was in a car or not. So like she didn't. My point being, she didn't try to like help you guys find each other.
Right, so she told me what her car looked like, and I was pretty sure that was her car, but it was kind of dark out, couldn't quite see, and she didn't really help me out with the whole finding her and stuff.
Like, I just pulled in, I'm parked next to a light post, my lights are on, let me honk the horn, like, anything.
I'm standing up.
I was kind of expecting her to get out or something, because I'm like, "Oh, I think I see your car," and she's like, didn't do anything, so I had to like walk up, and then I had to text her as I was walking over, and this is
that's awkward.
I'm the car that's blasting Nickelback.
Oh, well, I think we're at the wrong parking lot.
I gotta go.
Cancel this date. Okay.
So the first thing I notice is she is not very attractive, and I don't want to be like mean, but I'm like, "Oh, okay." I was expecting something a little hotter.
Like, oh, okay. That's what I get for not looking at the pictures.
So I'm like, okay, and she's also like a little midget. I mean, okay, she's a little person. No, she's not a little person. She's just very short.
Wait. Okay, scale of 1 to 10. How short was she?
She was a 4.9.
Oh, okay. So
I don't remember going on this date with you, Nate.
So, do you think that was like legally she was considered a midget?
I believe the legal limit is 4.8, so she was very close to being legally within that. Though apparently that term's not PC, so whatever the term's supposed to be.
I don't care what the term is.
Like a little person.
If I get all of all people who are under the average stature angry at me, I really don't care. They can suck my dick. They're down there anyway. So you're on a date with an ugly midget.
She wasn't ugly. It's just like I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll go with this." Anyway, so we go into the bowling alley, and it's pretty loud in there. Like, we decided to go on the rock and bowl night where they kind of bring down
the house.
you bring down the house. There's all these lights and stuff. It's black lights. If you wear white shirts, you look pretty awesome. And they have some rock music, and it's usually pretty fun.
So if the Ku Klux Klan went there, they would look bitchin'.
They would be rockin' out.
That's a great point.
Can you imagine the KKK in their full garb out in public at Rock and Bowl,
fucking bowling a tent,
wearing bowling shoes? Yeah. And they like have to slip off their normal shoes, and you see them tying up. And they're like, hey, bub. Okay. Anyway, so you're not there with the KKK. You're just there with the midget.
Right. So we, get up to the little counter, and we're deciding to, go bowl. We get a whole little aisle to ourselves. You can get it for, I think, 3 hours that day. It's a special, so it's like $17, and you get it for the whole night. That's the whole idea with Rock and Bowl.
That's a great price. We should do that.
We should do that right after this, but go on.
So I decided this, like, even before I met her in person, that I wasn't going to pay for her because, I'm a feminist. Men are equal to women, and plus she has a job that pays more than mine. So she was going to pay for herself. And she did not like that. She didn't like that at all.
Did you ask her, how do you want to handle this or anything like that? Or did you just go straight up to the counter, pay for yourself, and stand back and let her go?
It's pretty much that.
Okay, fair enough. Not quite gentlemanly. At very least, if you're going to offer the opportunity for her to pay for herself, bringing up, hey, how do you want to handle this situation? That then she at least feels obligated to say, oh, well, either I didn't bring any money or I got myself or something along those lines. It at least gives her the opportunity to back out.
Yeah, and, she called me cheap. She's like, oh, that's kind of cheap of you.
Okay, fair enough.
And so, we get our bowling shoes, and it's already a little bit of a weird start, I guess. And the alley we go to is right in front of the speaker. Like, literally, the big loudspeaker that plays the music, it was right in front of it. And they had the music really blasting. Now, if you're, like, halfway across the bowling alley, it'd probably be like, this is kind of loud, but if you yell loud enough, you can have a conversation. Where we were standing, you couldn't have a conversation.
So, did you go up and ask for a different lane, saying that one was a little too loud?
Well, what I did was, we started the game, and she kind of sucked. And I thought, men and women are equal. I want to just play this game out. Like, I don't want to, like, hinder myself, because that would be kind of shitty of me. So I just played the game, and she ended up scoring about a 43 the first game, and I was about a 98.
So you played as hard as you could?
Yeah.
Completely showing off here.
I would have done the same thing.
That does not surprise me.
So I'm trying to have a conversation with her, and it's going back and forth, like, what? And there's a bar kind of like right around the corner. It was within the bowling alley, and so I take her in there, and we just kind of have a talk, and she gets a drink, and I don't drink, so I didn't get a drink, and she paid for her own drink, of course. And so we're having a conversation, going back and forth, and it was a decent back and forth. It wasn't that terrible, but it's just kind of small talk. What do you do? Have you been on a date before on OkCupid? And back and forth. And something we both agreed on is, like, it's none of this bullshit where you kind of like don't actually go on dates. The whole point of the site is to go on a date. So we agreed on that at least, which is why we dated within like 3 messages. But back to bowling, and I end up beating her again. We actually go to the arcade stuff, and I actually paid for some of the arcade games. It was very generous of me.
Oh, how generous of you to pay 50 cents for a fucking game.
Well, some of them were like $1, so that's.
Wow, I'm really impressed. So when you guys were at the bar, she was drinking a drink. Were you drinking nothing at all?
I had a bottle of water myself.
Okay, so you bought a bottle of water.
Yeah, and she asked, like, oh, you could have just bought a bottle of water. I'm like,
wait, you didn't, you brought one?
Well, yeah, see, I was in there, this was on the first round of bowling, and I'm like, man, I'm thirsty. She's like, oh, well, there's a vending machine over there. I'm like, I'll be right back, just gonna grab a bottle of water from my car.
So you left bowling, went out to your car, and grabbed a bottle of water?
Yeah.
Okay, so you were very committed to spending as little money as possible.
Yeah, she called me cheap after that as well.
Fair.
I'd say that's pretty fair, yeah.
You know, in terms of dating, that, you know, classically, you would be very much considered cheap. With the right woman, in the right circumstances, you would be considered very thrifty and therefore very desirable. But in this situation, that seems like it might have not been the correct decision. And I find it extremely interesting that even after she made the first comment, you were still dedicated to not spending any money.
I mean, are you kidding me? $2 for a bottle of water? Why would you spend $2 on a bottle of water when you have it in your car?
My point. So you guys go to the bar and you're drinking your bottle of water and you can't even buy her a drink?
Well, I don't drink alcohol. I mean, I'm not going to support her.
It's not for you.
Well, yeah, that's a point, but you know, alcohol is expensive.
I got a question, Nate.
What's that?
Are you single right now?
Currently, yes.
That in itself is a tragedy. I mean, I think that this date right here is going extremely well.
Yeah, you might not be for too long.
I'm not offended by the fact that you haven't been willing to pay for anything at all. I'm not offended by the fact that you brought your own meal rather than buying one out here. But, you know.
That's because you're a feminist, Steve.
Exactly. But I think that if she was willing to say that you were cheap, she was starting out the date with the wrong frame of mind and she was starting out negative versus starting out, you know, thinking something positive of that. Like, she expected something free. So she just wanted a night out with a whole bunch of free shit versus possibly going into it with a different frame of mind of, I'm going to pay, and then if you had offered to pay, that would be a bonus. I think that there's different ways that you can come into a dating situation, and if you come in not expecting it, then it's a blessing if they do, and not a letdown if they don't.
You bring up a really good point, because the very few dates I've actually been on, like, that qualifies as an actual date, I always go into it thinking, all right, I'm going to pay for myself. And then if a guy pays for me, that's like a fucking bonus.
Exactly.
But I'm never expecting them to, because I'm a strong, independent woman. I'm a strong, independent woman, and I don't need no man.
Now, if he doesn't pay for you, are you kind of disappointed?
No, because I'm already expecting to pay for myself anyway.
Right.
I mean, to be fair, women are like we're indoctrinated to think that a man should be paying for us because we're delicate little flowers. But, I mean, I don't think that that's necessarily a necessity to have a good date. I don't think that if a man pays for me or doesn't pay for me, it's going to affect whether I think that they're a good mate or not. Really, it's all about the ass.
Now, I go into a date expecting to pay for both of us. Or in some cases, all three of us. And if she offers to pay for herself, I'll usually turn it down. But I think that that's an extremely attractive thing. And especially if she just does pay for herself, or, which does happen on rare occasions, she pays for both of us. That's like so huge that she's not only willing to... I feel like when somebody's paying for the date, they're saying, I'm willing to invest money into us having a good time. Both of us having a good time, not just, you know, I'm going to pull my weight and nothing else. It's, I'll pay the money to have us have a good time. You don't need to worry about anything. And it kind of takes the stress off of the other person. While it also shows that I'm loaded, and even if that's not the truth, that's what they're going to think. And that's all that matters to me, is what they think at that moment. So if I can put across this persona that I have a lot of money, even if I don't, then that's a much better chance that they're going to want to go out with me again.
So,
I don't think that's necessarily fair. I don't like. I think that some women, yes, that's true. I think that they will think, oh, I need to date this guy because he has fucking money. But I also think that there are women out there, myself included, that could give a shit less if you're loaded or not. That has no effect on what I personally think. Like, if you turn out to be an asshole, I don't give a shit if you're loaded or not. I don't want to date you. I'm probably never going to see you again. But if you're really sweet and you're fucking poor as fuck, I'll give you a shot. Basically, I date bums.
It's all about how you play it. Because if you play it off as, you can't just be like, oh, I'll pay for that. And then you're like whipping out your bag of coins. Like, that's not going to work. You need to be super casual about it. And like, you're just throwing money around. And then like, you tip really well, which I do anyway, just because it's a service industry and they don't get paid enough anyway. But like all the little things, and it's the little things that you pay for that really add up. The big things are easy to pay for. It's the little things. And then when the woman thinks back at the end of the date, or the man, about the date and says, oh wow, he paid for this little thing and this little thing and this little thing and this little thing, and he drove a nice car and he wears a big watch and he's got a huge dick. Like, obviously he's got tons of money. And that's what really drives them. And then if you're somewhat charming, or, like me, completely like off the charts charming, and, a little bit interesting, and you show you're interested in them, it's basically hook, line, sinker.
Right, so I was going off the whole charm method here. And so we went to the arcade, and that was alright, had some conversations, we could actually hear each other there, which was better. But we go back to bowling for another round, and I score even higher. She scores a little bit lower. I think she scored like 39, scores like 112 or something like that. And I don't know, I usually don't do so good bowling, but tonight I was doing really well.
You were on point.
So we took a little break, and we were just kind of like chatting, in front of the speaker, not really being able to hear very much. And I'm trying to do some flirting with her, so I'm like trying to put my hand a bit closer to her, maybe on her leg. But then I put my hand on her leg, and she gets kind of like no reaction. It's not like she's saying she's comfortable with it, or she's not saying she's uncomfortable with it. She's just kind of like no reaction. So I'm like, okay, she's not comfortable with that. So I put my hand away, and then she kind of seems like she wants it back on. So I'm like, okay, so I put my hand back on, and it's going back and forth like this, and
okay.
And then I brush her hand a little bit, and it's like, does she want? I don't know if she wants physical contact. I think she does, but I'm trying to read a mind that's not there.
Wait a second, you brushed her hand? Like got a brush? How hairy was she? Was she a hobbit? Did you date a hobbit, Nate?
Well, she wasn't quite hairy, but height-wise, yes.
So you're doing the hokey pokey, left hand in and out on her leg. You're brushing her hair.
Her hand.
Oh, you're brushing her hand. Go. She's not giving you clear signals.
Right, and at this point, I'm feeling like maybe she's really attracted to me, but maybe she doesn't even know if she's I think she's attracted to me physically, but I'm not sure if she's attracted to me emotionally or and intellectually. And so I'm trying to bring up these conversations we had on OkCupid. About her running and her doing this or doing that. She said she was really into running, and I was saying, oh, I might want to get into that, and she wasn't really giving me much there as far as conversations. Oh yeah, I want to do a marathon. Oh, okay, what's that like? I don't know, you run a bit. It's like, oh, okay.
I got a little hint for you, Nate. If they're not attracted to you mentally, they're not attracted to you physically.
I don't think that's always true. But I think that if she was having short answers like that, she wanted the date to end.
Yep.
See, this is where it gets confusing. So, the third round of bowling comes around, and it's getting kind of late now. This was the last round. And this one, I decide, I'm kind of being a jerk by not letting her win. So I'm going to let her win this one. I'm not even going to try. And I put absolutely no effort into the last round of bowling. I score 143.
I was expecting you to beat her.
You physically raped her.
But I'm like, oh, he's gonna score a 30 and she's gonna score a 29. No, 143.
I was getting kind of pissed off because, I threw a ball. I thought it was going to be a gutter ball. It ended up going, spinning, strike.
You bowled the best game of your life.
It really was. I didn't score any better than that.
So now you know what to do. And you could be a professional bowler now. You just have to be completely uninterested.
Yep. And so after that, she called me cheap one more time.
For a particular reason this time?
I don't know. I think we're talking about cars and stuff, and she was saying she makes car payments and all this kind of stuff, and I think she's just doing leasing. I was saying I'm not really about that. I like paying for my car in full because I don't want to like pay interest. And she's like, well, that's kind of cheap, isn't it?
Did she not get the fucking point the first 2 times she called you cheap? I'm confused.
Wait. So not wanting to pay interest is cheap? I think that's just smart financial decision making.
I don't know. I think she's just looking for an excuse now.
Oh, okay.
I actually wholeheartedly agree with you on that one. I don't want to pay interest either.
But so we're kind of hanging out in the lobby. We just maybe 20 minutes to close, and I'm trying to read her body language because this was the hardest part about this date. Is her body language was like reading a dead fishes, and she's not giving me anything to work with. And she's talking about a few subjects, and I'm trying to figure out how to play off them, and I'm letting her do some talking. And this is actually where our conversation got pretty good, because they started lowering the volume on the rock and roll stuff. So, less Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, and a lot more talky. So, it's pretty good, but, this date was wrapping up to an end. It's 11:30 at night. And so we decided to walk out to the car, and I learned about this psychology thing about leading and stuff, so I was trying to figure out, okay, does she want to talk more, does she want to talk less, does she want to go? Either one's fine, I don't really care, I just want to kind of play this by whatever. So I started walking, and she started following my footsteps, right? So she's kind of leaning behind me, and I would stop, and she would stop. And then I'd start going a little bit, she'd stop going a little bit, she'd stop, and...
Wait, were you guys being chased by a serial killer, or...?
No, just having a conversation, and I can't really talk and walk at the same time. And there's also this thing where you kind of get into these kind of poses where, how do you put it? It's like...
Like in pictures, you just walk along, then stop, pose.
Strike a pose.
So let's imagine you're talking to someone, you cross your legs, right? So this kind of indicates you want to keep talking, because it's a hard position to get out of. So she was kind of getting into these positions, and I'm like, okay, so she wants to keep talking. That's fine. But then verbally, she was kind of saying, okay, let's keep going. But then she keep on bringing up subjects that would be stuff to talk about. So I'm getting all these mixed messages. You want to talk more? You want to keep talking? You want to stay here? You want to keep walking? And we eventually make it to the car, and she tells me, oh man, my arm really hurts. And I'm like, oh, why's that? She's like, I actually have an arm issue. My joint doesn't fully go like this, and this whole bowling thing killed my arm.
So she could have out-bowled you if her arm hadn't been all messed up.
So why did she agree to go bowling?
Right?
Knowing this.
I don't know. And I was like, so this is what I said. I said, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. If there's ever something like this that happens again, just let me know. If there's something you can't quite do, or something that would make you uncomfortable, just let me know, and we can work around that. We can do something else. That's completely fine. And she looks at me and she's like, "That's the rudest thing anyone ever has said to me on a date. I can't believe you said that. What?
What?"
And so I'm kind of thinking what? So I was like, I don't quite understand what's rude about that. I want to make sure you're comfortable, and if this is hurting your arm, it's important for me to know that, because that way I can kind of, acclimate to it. Because I don't want to hurt your arm, and, it's not like I could have known that, and you agreed to bowling, so I thought this would have been alright. If we want to do candle pins, that would have been something you could have suggested, and I didn't want to put you into a situation. She's like, well, you did, though.
What the
So I'm like, oh, well, okay. So, I for the most part enjoyed the day. I mean, I think the whole loudness and everything was bad, but this is exciting to do. And
so after she makes it very clear she's had an awful time and her arm hurts and she's trying to pin it all on you, you're like, well, I had a good time. I thought this was a good day.
This is the most successful date I've ever had.
Well, so she walks away into her car and she's like, oh yeah, I was just kidding about all that.
Oh my god, Nate, you met your match. She out-awkwarded you.
And then you went back inside and she bowled 146.
And she said she was interested in a second date.
Oh my god.
We need to meet this head case.
Okay, so where does that leave us?
The second date was at a pizza place, and I think it went alright, but she was getting kind of annoyed.
Did you get personal pans so that it didn't hurt her arm, or?
The real question is, did you pay?
This time I did.
Holy shit.
A scale of 1 to 10, how hot was the pizza?
That's actually pretty good. Probably a 9.5. It was a Festa, so it was pretty great.
Oh, yeah, that's a great place.
But how is that compared to every other pizza? Because your scale of 1 to 10 for pizza versus my scale could be very different. I mean, I love La Festa. I would rate La Festa as a 10.
See, you have low standards.
Clearly.
So,
a 10 is low.
So you went to La Festa.
So let me tell you, all the girls at my work, they wanted the ins and outs of my dating story. They wanted to know absolutely everything. And when they found out I didn't pay, I got shit on for about 2 weeks. Like, it was non-stop. They couldn't believe it.
Like, literally shit?
Yeah, they all took turns. It was kind of awkward, but...
2 girls, 1 Nate?
It was actually more in the line of, like, 9. But, yeah.
Ooh.
9 girls, 1 Pepin.
And so I thought, okay, I'll pay here. So, you know, we're on the date and we're having a conversation. I'm letting her tell stories and stuff, and I'm trying to, like, interject a little bit. Kind of like we do here, you know, like, someone's telling a story and you ask little clarifying questions. You kind of... But she's getting kind of annoyed with that. She's like, oh, I'm talking here. Okay, oh, okay. And then she would just kind of end the story. So it's like, so my dad actually did something like that. Oh, really? That's interesting. Tell me more. Yeah, so he had this hot sauce and oh, what kind of hot sauce was it? Oh, it was this kind of hot sauce. Oh, okay. And yeah, then he didn't like it. Like it was kind of like just dumb stories like that. There's no point to it.
What kind of hot sauce was it?
I don't know. Actually, I think the story more specifically was she accidentally spiked her dad's food with hot sauce, and he's actually allergic to hot sauce.
Oh, so she tried to kill her father.
Pretty much, and you know, I was asking clarifying questions, and I was trying to get more and more out of the story.
For your safety.
Yeah.
That's probably a good idea. Women are the poisoners.
And then she as soon as I, like, stopped asking questions because she's getting annoyed, she just kind of like, yeah, he was alright.
I bet she felt really fucking stupid after that.
Yeah.
And she makes this big deal about, like, you interrupting, and then she's got nothing to fucking say afterwards. Just ends the fucking conversation like, oh, well, I guess I shouldn't have been such a fucking bitch.
So it sounds like, despite the fact that you paid, this is being an awkward date as well.
It's mostly like I was kind of pulling the conversation along. Like, she wasn't really doing her part. And then she called me cheap another 2 times.
For a specific
fucking
reason?
paid this time. What the fuck is this bitch's problem?
I don't know. Like, she found out I had a track phone, and she's like, oh, why don't you just get a real phone? It's because the real phone's like $40 a month, and I don't really use it that much.
But why don't you get a real phone?
Well, you know, it's a waste of money.
You do have a real phone now, though, right?
Yeah, but this is when they released their BYOB program, and you can get real phones, real smartphones with the track phone plan.
Mm-hmm.
They had a buy your own booze plan?
Actually, it's BYOP to be more specific.
Oh, okay. Well, I was excited.
So this day kind of ended up a bit. Also, one little factor which will be important for the next date's story is she had a fucking hard time finding where this was. Like, the directions weren't too bad, but she couldn't figure out where the parking lot was at all.
La Festa is awkward to park at. I've got to give her that one.
So
wait a second. You guys went on a 3rd date?
Yeah, we went on a 3rd date.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
So my mind was like, okay, first date, it was this bad kind of circumstance. You know, we didn't know the speaker was going to be there and blah, blah, blah. Second date, okay, I wasn't really feeling it then. But 3rd date's a charm, and if it's not working, we'll just end it.
3rd date was denial.
Oh, okay, my whole idea with this whole dating thing was just to go on dates to get experience. It wasn't like to find my perfect match or anything.
To get experience points to level up.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is what you have to do.
I am now level 2.
You've come a long way.
Yeah.
That is a long way for you, Nate.
So.
Wow, that was really offensive.
Are you really offended?
That like topped the chart tonight. Like, all right.
So on the third date, since we were gonna go to a coffee shop, and I've never been to this coffee shop, but I knew where it was, pretty close to La Festa, but it's also kind of hard to get to. And so talking to her through text, I kind of make sure, like, okay, I'm gonna get there a bit early, and we can meet in the parking lot and walk over there because this place a little awkwardly. And so she agreed to that, and then I'm a little weird, I wouldn't say OCD, but I like to double check with things. So, made sure of that, later that day that we're going to do that, and that was the plan. So 7 o'clock rolls around, and that's where we're meeting up, and I don't see her, and she's not answering my texts. And I'm like, so, are you here? And nothing, and she says, yeah, I'm here. I'm like, okay, where are you? And then she gives me a call, and she's like, hey, I've been waiting in the coffee shop for 15 minutes. Where are you? So I'm like, oh, well, the plan was to meet in the parking lot, remember? And we'd walk there, and she's like, well, I'm here. What do you want?
So you placed your order, and she paid.
So I come in, and she already had a coffee, which was nice, because I didn't have to pay for it. And, I get myself a coffee, and we're having conversations and stuff. Not very good conversations, because this is like the pizza date, except worse.
Oh, man.
It's like, she starts telling a story, and so I'm like, oh, that's interesting, tell me more. Oh, so that happened? Oh, so that's the end of the story, okay. And the couple times I did interrupt her, she would get kind of mad, like, I'm talking here. And then she'd just end the story. And it was getting really kind of annoying. To be clear, when I do interrupt her and try to get more of the stories go longer. Sometimes they don't, but a lot of times they go longer. And when I don't interrupt her, the stories just end. So this one time I interrupted her, and she got kind of really mad, and it's like, I'm talking here. I'm like, okay. So then she just ends the story. And it's a little bit silent because I'm just trying not to interrupt her. And then she's like, wow, this is awkward. We have nothing to talk about. I was like, oh, okay. And this date's not going very well at all. I'm trying to make the best of it. I'm trying to, like, be funny, make some, tell some good stories and stuff. After this, I'm like thinking, okay, probably not a third date, but let's just kind of make this nice. And so, it's kind of a undramatic ending, but we decided to cut it a bit short. It was only about, like, maybe a 45-minute date. And walk her to her car, and she's like, okay, I don't think I'm interested in going on another date. I'm like, yeah, me either. Hey, what about, give me a hug. And we hugged and left and never talked to each other again.
That's probably for the best.
That's fairy tale ending right there. And then you lived happily ever after, never seeing each other again.
That is quite true. I mean, and to be honest, when so people wanted to see a picture of her, and for some reason they only asked after, like, the date stuff ended, and they looked at the picture and said, oh my god, she has 100% bitch face. Like, you should have said no. Like, just look at that face. You can tell she's a bitch. Now, I'm not saying she had a bitch face, and I'm not saying, maybe this was me. Maybe I was just a terrible date, but I don't know. She did kind of have a bitch face.
Bitch face can be really hot.
I can. You have a nice bitch face.
Yeah, it's what I do.
Yeah. To be fair, I think that, in my personal opinion, if I'm telling a story and a guy's asking questions, to me, that says, hey, he's fucking listening and paying attention to my fucking story. So that's really impressive to me. And I would have a hard time, understanding what the fuck she was thinking. Like, oh, this guy's interrupting me. Like, no, you were asking questions. You were, participating in the conversation instead of just, I don't know. It's just me.
Did you ever consider being a jerk back? Or at very least being honest with her about how her actions were impacting the conversation or the date?
So at this point, I hadn't quite. How do we put this? So I am typically very nice. I have pulled out the jerky side more recently, but especially at that point, like most people would talk to me and think, yeah, Nate's just very nice, very, very nice. Some people say I was like a very. Some people would say I'm like super Christian-y boy. I wasn't Christian, but like I'm a perfect model Christian. Like I don't swear, I don't do this. I'm very nice, very polite, and if you know me, I'm not like that at all. Like Steve, obviously, you would say even back in high school, I was kind of a jerk.
Arguable.
Okay, I was kind of a jerk.
I mean, back in high school, you didn't swear and you didn't do a lot of those things, and you were super nice. You and I together were jerks, but I feel like a lot of that was me pushing you into being a jerk.
Maybe it's the point.
But then again, that's probably just my ego.
Yep.
So you say that you're really nice, and maybe at that point you weren't comfortable with being what you were calling jerky. I argue that if a date is going bad because the other person is not allowing the date to go well, then pointing it out and explaining how you feel isn't rude at all. I think that's extremely necessary if you want the date to continue to move forward in a positive direction. If it's heading downhill, you need to correct it, and sometimes the only way to correct it is to be bluntly honest.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. And also, you gotta show that you have a good perception of reality, because if you play into other people's delusions, it doesn't make anything better. So she's saying I keep interrupting her and all this kind of stuff, and that I keep talking. Another thing was I don't stop talking, which was not very accurate, I can't say. If I was talking a lot, it's only because she was not pulling her side of the conversation.
Yeah.
And I was trying to get her into the conversation, like trying to get her to like build off stuff, like, oh yeah, I did this thing one time and blah blah blah. Do you have any experience with that? What do you know about that?
Yeah.
But to me, I don't know. Maybe she, again, this is my theory. Maybe it's a bad theory, but I think she, on a kind of like a unconscious level, maybe found me really attractive and wanted to fuck me. But on the like a psychological, mental, conscious level, she's like, not really feeling this, and she would try to figure a way to kind of get me to kind of act against this, to kind of stop dating her. She was making the situation awkward. That way, I wouldn't want a second date.
Maybe she was trying to goad you into standing up to her, and something along those lines of saying like standing up for yourself. And she wanted to see if you were willing to confront her about her being ridiculous. Some people not like to be kept in line of, well, they're not going to let me get away with all this bullshit. And they like that.
Is that kind of where your mind was going when you were torturing the poor girl at the pumpkin festival?
No, that's just the way pumpkins make me.
Oh, okay. They make you pumpkin spicy.
Exactly. They Oh my god, I just got that. Oh, that was good.
I know.
So, I mean, we've had some.
Do you think that it's necessary to kind of treat a girl like an asshole, or be an asshole to a girl to get them to date you?
Maybe this is why I have not been successful. Again, I'm on online dating sites. You can find me there. But listeners,
that sounds really sad when you promote yourself. When I promote you, it's kind of cutesy and stuff like that. But when you promote yourself, it's really sad, Nate.
So this is just my opinion. Take it, leave it, do whatever you want with it. I think that you just need to find the right girl, because I think that if you find someone who's mature and like secure with themselves, they're not going to play those fucking games with you. You need to find someone who's ready to have you need to find a girl who's mature enough and ready to actually have an adult relationship where the guy doesn't act like a fucking asshole and is just nice. Because I think and I think a lot of girls need to get to that point, or a lot of women need to get to that point. I know that I've had, out of the multitude of guys that I've dated, I've had one nice guy, but I was ready for it, and he was really, really awesome. Don't date him anymore, but highly suggest him. He's a great guy.
What's his number?
I can give it to you off air.
Okay.
So, my advice here, since now we're just doling out advice to Nathan, is that...
If I really, like... Does it really seem like I need this much advice?
No, not really. I think that you should wait to find someone who's going to appreciate you for you, because I don't think you should change for anyone, because you're fucking awesome, Pepin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My concern would be if you're being too complacent. Like you're on the date and she's saying things like interrupting you and things like that, and you're just always agreeing, always going along with it. Where if you're just honest all the time, that's going to go... I think that if you're finding the right person, you need to find the right person for you, not for the fake dating you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's
I agree with that, actually.
That's my advice to everybody out there. Just be like me.
That is actually something I struggle with a lot, is not...
Being like me.
Being like you.
Yeah, a lot of people struggle with it.
I'm trying to grow the beard, but it's a bitch, man.
It's hard to maintain.
This is very true.
We all had some pretty great stories here. I think they all really contrast each other quite a bit. And I think, once again, Nathan has taken the cake with having just amazing stories. But I'm definitely glad that we were all able to get together and talk about these.
I didn't take the cake with the whole...
Did you bowl 146?
That's a good point. Actually, it was 143. Am I correct on this?
You are correct.
Thank you.
Oh my god, I'm misremembering already. I inflated your score. I do think it's really important that...
it's not the only thing that's inflated.
And that's where I'm going with this. So, I think this has been a great date, Nate. I'd love to hear your feelings on that.
Yeah, so you totally have to be honest, and honestly, like, you told a story about how you honked the horn and made the car alarm go off, and there's pumpkins. You went to Pumpkin Fest, and you even watched the thing drop, and then you ran away, and then you started soliciting other girls on this podcast, and then you called my story sad and pathetic. And then you gave me advice, and that advice was to be honest about my feelings. And being honest about your feelings is not just about what's inside, it's about what's on the outside. And what's on the outside are clothing.
You had so much good steam there.
That was beautiful.
Wait. No, there's more to that. And this clothing says, Steve, I will not date you again.
And that definitely disheartens me. I'm hoping that I can change your mind. Maybe we can change that clothing thing. I don't know, just throwing it out there.
Well, see, the clothing has like the words like, Steve, I will not date you.
I see that. Do. I thought that was kind of awkward, but I was letting it slide. I figured maybe it was a joke, and you were gonna cover up the do not want, and you were just gonna, Steve, I date you.
Well, there's Velcro there to throw you off, so I can put a patch there, but the trick there is I haven't actually Velcroed the other patch, like, it's just the Velcro on the shirt, not, like, on the other patch,
And I accept that. I think that it's a blessing for the rest of the world if they get the opportunity to go on a date with you, and I wish you the best of luck.
Yep, it's okcupid.com/npepin.
Link will be in the description. This has been We Need to Talk.
Do you want to date this podcast? Well, that's not possible. But what is possible is give us a rating on iTunes. Also, find us at Twitter at WTD1, and we're on Facebook at We Need to Talk Show. We also have a Patreon. Give us money if you really love us, and that'd be amazing. Thanks so much. Also, till next time.